grip, hold the spinner, grip it across this way, and from here, keep it pretty loose. You can see that my pinky is just off there. I don't have to be real strict with grabbing it this way. I just want a nice loose grip across this way. Sometimes my pinky's not even going to touch on that. Okay, to get the ball to spin downward, I'm going to start underneath it, and I'm going to come over the top. And as I'm coming over the top is when I'm going to release it. So it's hard to tell when you're doing it with the ball if your spin's right or not, but when we do it with the spinner, it's going to be very easy to tell. So I want to make sure that I get low to the ground. Again, look at my stance. My foot's out front. I'm on my power line. I want to put basically the back side of my hand on the ground. The spinner is flat part facing out toward third, and all I'm going to do is just roll this to the catcher. Just going to come right over the top and roll it to the catcher. So I start hand up, turn hand over. If you make the mistake, elbow out, it is just going to land on the ground flat. It won't go anywhere. It's just going to be very ugly. Land and die, and you know that you've done it wrong. But if you do it correctly, your elbow stays in, just like every other pitch. Your elbow is in, so you're under, you make the move. Look where my finish is. I come through just like a fastball, just like a rise ball, just like a changeup, whatever it is, but it's nice and natural. I've got no problem for that mistake. What does the spinner do? The spinner rolls perfectly. It gives you that instant feedback. What you're doing is right. If the spinner is rolling, you're right. So you're going to start close on one knee, and then you're gradually going to back up. What I might do is max get to about 3/4 of distance. As I back up, you're going to see me add more rock, because I got to have more power to get the spinner, to get the distance, 30, 35 feet that I'm trying to roll it. But I'm still just nice and easy. Under, over. If you look at it in slow motion, you're just seeing the under, over, and as I'm turning over, I make the release. Just like everything, you're going to progress slow. When I get all the way back 3/4 distance, no circle, that's good. I'm going to come back up very close and add my circle. I have to make sure I get here the same way I was when I was stationary. So when I get here, I've got to make sure I've got the spinner up, and I'm able to just turn it over. Nice and easy. Keep the circle slow up here. Give yourself a chance to get this. As I get it, again, days, weeks, maybe months to make these progressions. As I get it, I get to back up. When I get 4 or 5 in a row, that's good. I get to back up. So I will continue to move back. As I do, you'll see the speed of my arm circle pick up. And for college pitchers, don't be afraid to even back it up further. Great drill for college pitchers in the fall. Even if you have the pitch correctly, good way to work on your spins and getting everything right. Just back it way up. This forces you to put even more spin, speed, and effort on the pitch overall. And if I've had some little peculiarities slip in and cause me problems with my spin, this is going to fix it. So you're never too good to go back on that one knee. Okay, so once you get good off one knee, stand up. You might come back up and again take the circle off, make your progression backwards. I'm not going to bore you with all that right now. When you get good at that, come back up, add your circle, making sure your spin is good. Notice that I'm still not trying to complicate this by putting my legs in. I'm just letting my upper body have a chance, just working nice, easy. This turnover drop is never going to hurt you. My elbow's in, it's close, the spin is vertical. I'm going to keep adding speed. As I get back here, I'm going to keep adding speed. So this is going to be nice and smooth. The spinner's going to continue to roll. When I think I'm good, I've got that down there, then I can add the step. I can start to see if I can put it all together. Notice that I'm not trying to throw the spinner out. Just because of the shape of it, it'll automatically dive down. So all I'm working on is just good, fast rolls to the catcher. Notice my finish is down. easy to practice with the spinner because it'll bounce. So with the turnover drop ball, if you have a good foundation on your spin, this is a great drill. Come up to a wall with a good solid floor in front of it. You can do no circle at first, but you're going to try and hit the ground, hit the wall, and if you're doing things correctly, it'll come back to you. If you're good at it, you can add your circle, but this makes you be pretty aggressive. You don't just get to fiddle around and do a nice slow spin. If you're going to bounce it and it's going to come back to you, you're going to have to give it a little snap, a little pop to it. And so this is a great way. I can just do rep, 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 rep by myself, and this is going to make me better. It's going to make me super consistent. And again, it's going to take some time. Make sure you have a core first. Don't try to do this when you're just first learning the spin. All right, for the curveball, let's use the cross grip again, like you did on the turnover and like you did on the rise. The goal of the curveball is to get a flat, horizontal spin, not a vertical spin. So a lot of pitchers come here and they get the part about coming across their body, but they don't get the part about picking their fingers up and coming around the ball on the front side. Instead, that hand stays lazy and down, and they make the move, but they get this rotation on the ball, which is a vertical spin. That pitch will run across the zone, but it won't cut as well as if you get the horizontal flat spin, spinning this way. This pitch is a little more deceptive. It'll also give you a little bit better opportunity on the inside corner, whether you're a lefty or a righty. So we want to make sure when we come through this, we get the spinner up, open, flat towards the sky, and that we come around it to make the spin. A good drill for the curveball is just to sit down flat. If you're somebody who goes underneath the ball to get that vertical spin, your hand will run into the ground or it'll run into your leg. So by sitting down and putting your feet out in front of you and just coming across your lap, this is going to really get you the feel for coming around the spinner and just keeping that horizontal or flat spin right in there. If you get good at that, add your circle. Just like everything, when we make progress, you can back this up. You can back up to half or 3/4, and that forces you to put more effort on it. But this just gives you the flexibility in your arm you need. It starts to train initially that you need the ball to be flat. You need your hand, the palm of your hand, to be facing up. Okay, from your rear, come up to 2 knees. The reason we're not 1 knee is because we're coming across, and we're going to come across low, so we don't want that leg in your way. So go 2 knees, stay open. Here's my catcher, but I'm open this way, and I'm going to come right across here and work on that good flat spin. That I'm trying to just get it in my brain, what I'm doing. I'm using my seams, I feel those. From here, I would back up. You've seen that on the drop and the rise. I'm not going to take a lot of time here, but you could back up. That forces you to put more spin, more speed rather, on the overall motion and get everything right. Then I would come back up here. I would stay on 2 knees and I would add my circle. Now, a lot of times you add your circle, those old habits come in, your fastball habits come in, which put you in the wrong position back at 8 o'clock. So when I bring my circle around, I have to make sure at 8 o'clock that I'm open and up, just like I trained from the point when I was sitting down. So I'm going to make my progress again here on the knee. I'm going to start to back up. I'm going to half right now, just to see if I can hold that spin through here. I don't really care about results. I'm not looking at targets. I'm just looking at spin and getting the big things right. Okay, take this at whatever pace you need to. Once you back up off the knees, come back up, start with your feet stationary. Try it at first with no circle. You can back up if you want, add a little speed with no circle. This curveball, I think, is the hardest to back up very far without your circle. It's just hard to keep the whip on it enough speed. So if you feel like you have it pretty good at half, don't be afraid to go ahead and start your circle. See how you're doing here. Gradually back up. If it's right, if you do a couple in a row right, feel free. Keep backing up 1 step at a time. Keep your progress slow. Remember, the less times you do it incorrectly, the quicker you're going to learn a pitch. So you want to keep yourself in that good, healthy, positive environment of doing things right. If I get good, I'm going to gradually back up, but as I do that, I'm going to throw full without the step, and then I'm going to add the step, and I'm going to try the pitch full out with the step. People throw the screwball a lot of different ways. One of the ways they throw it is to get that vertical screw spin. You can do that on the spinner. You'll want it to fly, again, cross grip, and then you'll want it to fly just like this with the spin going around. So I would just go ahead and put my circle on it. There's no reason to break it down a whole lot. This is actually, if you throw the screwball like this, it's actually the mistake of almost everything else. This is not how you want your rise ball to go. This is not how you want your fastball to go, but it's sort of that mistake, and that's why I put the priority of the screwball back a little bit further. Screwball doesn't require a lot of body position discipline here until I get to the end. So really, to learn this spin, it's not as painstaking as everything else. It's really hard to take your circle off and do a lot with that screw spin, but if it helps you, feel free to just make the same progression that we've made with the other pitches. But of course, you can continue to go back, add your step when you feel good about it, and this thing is going to fly at you flat and have that good spin. Usually when you're working on with the spinner, you're not putting even all of your other body positions in. So there's a lot more that goes with each of these pitches as far as where you're stepping, where your weight shift is. But we're talking about learning spin now, so don't make it any more complicated than you have to. Anytime you care about the spin of the ball, the spinner can help you. So there's maybe you get into the category of change-ups, you can find a lot of ways to do it. I'll show you one common one. It's just with the flip change. A lot of times the goal of the pitchers with the flip change is to get that hand flipped around and come out backwards, so it'll take a lot of the natural wrist snap and speed off of it. So obviously if you did this with the spinner, go 2 fingers and your thumb. If you do this with the spinner, you're going to flip it. Come fingers first and the spinner will stand up. So the one thing I want to start out working on is just be here normal, like I would come in with my fastball, wrist cocked. I'm just going to flip it around, come out, and this, you're just going to see the spinner stay straight up. From here I can just start putting a little motion in it, and I can start to back up. Remember with the flip change, you don't want to really get too high with your finish. You want that pitch to stay nice and flat, so you want to keep everything low. But this is just going to show me, I can add my circle, start close, whatever, but it's just going to show me a lot of times when pitchers add their circle with the flip, they start not getting it completely turned. And it allows them to get some of this power, the lower arm power on the ball, and it makes the change up too fast. So again, just an example of a off pitch that you can use. A lot of people don't think to use the spinner for a changeup, but if you're looking at motion, position of the wrist, or spin of the ball, you can usually incorporate the spinner somehow. So get creative with it, use it on as many pitches as you can. But again, this is when you're learning spins. This is not about the whole body, it's not about everything else in. You do want to eventually put full motion, but don't pick everything else apart. This is just going to make sure that you get the spins right. Okay, remember, so many of the college pitchers and professional pitchers that you see on television make all of this look super easy, but there's a ton of work involved in getting pitches to move correctly, to be able to go to the next level. If you're a high school pitcher, to be able to be successful in college, college pitcher to be able to be successful in the professional league. So it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of diligence, you have to be particular. A lot of people don't like spinners at first because they're very particular. They're going to show you exactly when you make a mistake. But keep a spinner in your bag. A lot of times people like to use 2 or more spinners just to keep the workouts going. Coaches, training facilities, a lot of times will get several so that you can do a repetition of drills, but make sure you do that. And the other thing I like pitchers to do is in the bullpen pre-game, pre-practice, you get ready to start your pitches. A lot of pitchers will get close to their catcher, but they don't worry about really breaking that spin down. So don't hesitate to start with your spinner, and you'll see a lot of college pitchers do that. They start the very first part of their workouts with the spinner. Once they make sure everything's right, then they move to the ball. That's just smart in your workout. So good luck to you. It's going to take a lot of hard work, and be patient.